Okay, so we're going to play the opening game in every single game we play. And the opening game is actually one of the trickiest uh, aspects of the game. It really can be very confusing. There's a whole range of choices open to us, a whole range of principles come into play, and it can be very difficult to know what to do. It really genuinely can be at the start. So at the moment, I'm just reading through Bill Roberti's a new series of books out called How to Play the Opening in Backgammon. 3 books on the topic, and I'm studying them a little bit myself. I'll bring them into this next series of videos. And there's a book that I have found very helpful by Mark Olson and Michy. There's a Japanese player called Michy, first or second rated players in the world at the minute, and they produced a book masterclass. And there's a chapter by Michy in that, which can be very helpful to start to know what are our best moves at the start. But even with that, there's so much advice out there. There's so many different overlapping concepts come into play that the opening can be very confusing. So what we're really going to do over the next few videos is just look at this book by another Japanese author. It's called Opening Concepts, and we've had Michy. This is Michy, again one of the very top ranked players in the world, a very popular teacher. And that book, Opening Concepts, I know several Irish players said to me that this was the book to read when I was getting started in backgammon. So for this reason, we're going to kind of study it section by section over the next few videos, and it will give a little bit of help. What Michy does is he comes up with a series of what he calls proverbs, and it's quite a good idea because there's no fixed. The difficult part of the opening is there's no fixed, rule. You must do this, and then you must do this. It's much trickier. So Michy comes up with a series of proverbs that I find useful because they don't, they can contradict each other, and they can overlap with each other, and sometimes you're wondering which proverb to apply, but they will get you started. And while you're studying it, I just put in what has really helped me is there are videos on YouTube from Sunny Florida Backgammon Club, and the teacher there, Gary Koscielny. I find him very helpful because he's very human in the way he approaches it and talks about mistakes. And all you need to, if you go into YouTube and just look up Sunny Florida Backgammon, you'll find a whole range of teaching videos. And if you put in Opening Concepts, again, Gary Koscielny does exactly what I'm doing. He goes through chapter by chapter, but he leads a class that takes about typically anything from 45 minutes to an hour with kind of some beginners and intermediate players, and they discuss the various. You're getting this lesson from me is just me talking. He does a class which is quite useful, and I said it's really helped me and guides me with it. But what I do find is that with Michy's proverbs, there were some notable exceptions, but like extraordinary exceptions. And Gary Koscielny in Sunny Florida Backgammon Club said the same thing. He said, "Look, before we even get into his proverbs, he has a proverb 0. I actually have a proverb 0.1, 0.2, and 0.3, which he covers as well, that I think are fundamental. And you really want to apply these proverb 0 proverbs first, and then if they don't apply, you look at Michy's thing. So just looking at proverb 0.1, if you're not sure what to do, if you can hit in the outfield, you should. We said in one of the earlier videos, if you can't, if the outfield, I mean, not your home board. Sometimes it's right to hit in your home board as well, but it's always right to hit if your opponent has a checker, a blot, a single checker somewhere around the board that's not your home board, and you can hit it. You generally should. There's 2 exceptions, and only 2 exceptions that I can find that I'll show you. But let's just look at the rule, the proverb for a second. So here's the situation. If you look down the bottom left, our opponent has a checker there that's 2 away from our 13 point. We've rolled a 2, so we must hit. We won't worry about the 6 for this section, but we should hit. That's a direct hit. We could also have an indirect hit, and look, with a 4-2, I've mentioned this to you in a previous video. We could play, 4 and 2 that way and make our second best point, our silver point, our 4 point. But that's a mistake. What we should be doing instead is we can hit that blot on the bottom left, that single checker. So we come down with the 4 and on 2 more, and we've hit the blot. And that's the correct thing to do. And we'll be looking at correctness of moves in a second. Gary Koscielny in Sunny Florida Backgammon Club gives this as a very interesting position because there's three options here with a 4 and a 2. We could make, as I said, make our silver point, our 4 point, coming in with the 4 and then down with the 2. Or we could put them back. We can make our opponent's 5 point, our golden anchor, if you like, by playing, look at the top right, we play, come forward with the 4 and then the 2. And that's that's the best anchor we can have. We're on the point that our opponent most wants to make, and we've blocked it. So that's a really good thing to do. But let's just go back to that fundamental principle. Can we hit? And we can. Again, look down the bottom left, where our opponent's 2 away from us. We must hit with the 2. And then you can do lots of things with the 4. The best thing to do is just to take our very furthest back checker and to advance it for letting us have a shot at escaping, or at the very least making a strong anchor. Now, you've heard me talking about XG, and XG is the program that produces all these slides. You should, if you want to improve, you definitely need to get it. And the great thing about XG is it takes every situation that you can find in backgammon and analyze the position. If I put the light bulb button in, it'll tell you the right move. And if you look, the code for it is anything in green is a mistake, an error, it's called. So the right move is to definitely come down from our 13 point, the notation there, 13/11 with an asterisk beside us. The asterisk means we've hit one of our opponent's checkers. We've done the 13/11 move, and 24 to 20 we move. Our furthest checker is 24 away. We move it forward to the 20 point. So XG, increasing of these videos, I'm going to be showing you, well, don't take my word for it. Here's what the computer actually says. So here's another example that I often get wrong, or I just have to be careful that I don't rush into it. If I rush this, I look at the top right, I'd say, well, if I play my 4 forward, I've made that golden anchor, that brilliant anchor that we want to make. The problem with this is I haven't hit. So let's go back and say, well, could I hit? The answer is yes. It might not look like I can hit, but look at the other checker on the top right. If I move that forward 6 and then down 4, I've hit. And putting that into XG, we find that anything else is highlighted in red, and what red means, it's a blunder. So it's not just a kind of a small error, it's a major blunder not to hit in that situation. Now, I said there were 2 exceptions to the rule about always hitting, and this is one of them. Early in the game, if our opponent advances with a 6 and we roll a 3-1, could hit with the 1 and then bring maybe another checker down for a bit of support. But we're very likely to be hit back, and if we are, we haven't really achieved anything. We've just got ourselves sent back. With the 3-1, the only thing you do with the opening moves is bring it in and make our golden point. The golden point is just so strong that we can't afford to lose it. The second proverb I'm going to talk about is basically, if you can't hit, you start off, can you hit? And if you can't, can you make a good home board point? So I'm going to use the number 5-3 and show you 4 different situations where we roll a 5 and a 3 and we're wondering what to do. So the first one, can we hit? Yes, we can. Look at the top right quadrant. We can play one of our white checkers forward with a 3 and then on with the 5, and we've hit. And we should definitely do that. And anything else is a serious blunder. If you look at the numbers in the light red print there, the 0.269, what that means is they quantify the size of your mistake. And anything, I called it, the way I heard someone talk about this way, and I think it's easy way to look at it. That's a 269 millipoint blunder. Anything more than 80 is a blunder. 269 is what's called a triple blunder. It's a whopper. It's a disaster. So you just want to be careful with that. Here's another situation with the 5-3. Can we hit? Is your first question always? Yes, we can. We can bring one down from the 13 point and hit the black checker there. We could be greedy and hit a second black checker. 2 in the bar is very good. But the danger is we've pushed that white checker further forward than we need to. So we're actually slightly better just coming down and then bringing an extra checker down for a bit of extra ammunition. We don't want to get our checkers too far forward too early. And again, looking at it, that's the correct move. That's in black. If we were to do the double hit, it's quite a significant error, and anything else is a blunder. So here's the situation. Can we hit in this situation? Well, yes, we can. We can bring one down from the 13 point with a 5 and keep it going more and hit. And what we're doing there is a proverb that we will be looking at in a couple of videos time, called fighting for a good point. So we can hit, and we should do that. But and there's this message of it. But just a reminder, this Proverb 0.2 that I have here is basically, if we can't hit, and there's times we can't hit, the best thing to do is to make a good point in our home board if you can. So with the 5-3 here, there's nothing, if you can count your way around it, there's no 5 or 3 will hit anything. So we're best off just bringing a checker in and covering it. And now at least we made a home board point. So if we hit our opponent in the future, we have a base to hit them with. And there again, just showing you that that's the correct move. The final proverb is basically, you'll hear backgammon players saying this: if we can do 2 good things at the start, it's usually better than doing one amazing thing, one great thing. So let me show you the other example. I said there was 2 examples where hitting is wrong, and here's the other example. With the double 2, we could trundle that checker forward 4 times and hit our opponent and send them back, and that's a great thing to have done that. However, usually with double 2s, look at the bottom right quadrant, our home board. Usually with double 2s, it's always going to be right to move 2 down from the 6 point and make our silver point. And then typically it's usually going to be right to go 13 to 11, but in this situation, the correct move is to move 2 down and then go 2 from our back checkers, move our back checkers forward 2. The attraction of that is we've made an advanced anchor, not a very advanced anchor, but it's still an advanced anchor in our opponent's home board. Plus, we're now targeting that lone black checker on the top left. If we roll a 6, we'll get that next time. So we've done 2 good things here. We haven't just run out and hit a checker, but we've made an advanced anchor that threatens an opponent's checker. Plus, we've made a really good point in our home board. So 2 good things is better than 1 thing. And I'm going to give you, and again, you can see the scores here. So the correct move is to move 2 from the back and then 2 onto our 4 point. The second best move isn't disastrous, is to make our 4 point and then make the other point in the outfield. But running forward to hit that checker is a blunder. It's not just a mistake, it's a blunder. So we don't do that. So you might just want to remember that if you can hit, you should always hit, except when you roll a 3-1 or except when you're rolling double 2s. You're better off. You've better off uses of them. So we want to move always with double 2s 6 to 4 with 2 of them, and then you can't. Typically, you're going to move down to the midfield, but in this situation, moving forward lets us threaten that lone black checker. But what we don't want to do is just run out and hit. So there's the 2 examples where you don't hit because of that idea of doing 2 good things. Here's another example where 2 good things is better than 1 amazing thing. Obviously, I said to you that making our golden point, our 5 point, would be fantastic. So we could come in with the 3 and down with the 1. But that achieves 1 great thing. But if we put them back, could we do 2 good things? And the answer is yes. Look at the top right. We can come forward with the 3 and on with the 1. What we've done here is we've slotted one of the points we want to make in our opponent's home board. We're threatening the other lone checker on the top. So we've advanced one of our back checkers, which is a good thing. Plus, we've hit one of the black checkers, sent them back to the very start, which is another good thing. So 2 good things outweighs 1 amazing thing. And for that reason, the correct move here, and you'll see it, normally we'd want to make our golden point with that second move there in red, the 8/5, means we take 1 from our 8 point and move it to the 5 point, and 1 from our 6 point and move it to the 5 point. But look, it's a big blunder to do that this time, because coming forward and hitting our opponent, sending them back, and advancing our own checker, 2 good things is better than 1 amazing thing. That's the logic of that. So I think before we get onto Michy's Proverbs, I think that's the thing we need to work on, is start off with saying, can you hit in the outfield? And if you can, with those 2 exceptions, you should. Secondly, can you, if you can't do that, can you make a point in your home board? That's the second thing to do. Always just think about, well, look, can you do 2 good things rather than just one amazing thing? And after that, if none of that is possible, and sometimes it isn't, then you will start looking at the proverbs and ideas that come in Michy's opening concepts books, and that's where the rest of the videos are going to lie. Just a reminder that one thing you can try and do, if you have XG, there's a terrific drill you can do where you just play the first 5 moves, and then resign. 5 moves, resign, and just keep getting your scores and try to just look at your scores, get the feedback. How can you improve? I'll keep talking about this. Tim Cross is the coach who came up with this 5x5 training exercise. But that's it for this video. We'll be back with Michy next time.